What's up, card fighters? Today I bring you a deck profile for Zeals in Premium. It is one of my favorite decks in the game, next to Giraffa and the Mega Colony Clan. So let's go ahead and get started. So for the trigger lineup, I'm doing 5 draw, 1 over trigger from Brant Gate, 2 grade 0 heals, and 6 critical triggers. 4 of them are the Stride Fodders, and 2 of them are GB1 into Soul Draw card. My starter is Galactic Beast Zeal for reasons to where if you ride I have Destruction Zeal. You can check the top 7 cards of your deck for Devour Planet Zeal or Galactic Beast Zeal and add it to your hand. If you fail to find, you just move him to a rearguard circle and he's a good little 4K booster. That's pretty much it. Nothing special about the trigger lineup or anything like that. For my grade 1 lineup, I'm running 4 I have Destruction Zeals, 4 Evolution Monster Davin, 3 of the new Dimensional Robo we're getting in the V Clan selection, Dimensional Robo Die Prop, and 2 Cosmic Hero Grand Robo. I run 4 Eye of Destruction Zeals for the deck thinning for Zeo pieces, and he goes well with the starter. He can be used on Vanguard and Rearguard Circle, which is very nice. Hard once per turn, but that's understandable. I run 4 Evolution Monster Davin, or Davane, however you say it. He's a great card because when you call him to the Rearguard Circle, you can move a Rearguard into Soul, Superior Ride a Zeo from deck of the same grade as your Vanguard. Then you proceed to call a unit out of Soul of the same grade as your Vanguard. Then minus your opponent's Vanguard by 3,000 power. It's not a lot, but since he's not a hard once per turn, you can spam him depending on what grade you're on. I run 2 of the top 5 Searcher for grade 3 Grand Rope. I couldn't really find anything else to put into his slot. This is just a testing build for now. He's good for late game because his effect procs to be a 13k booster if you have a grade 3 or greater unit on the board, which could be Vanguard or Rearguard Circle. So if you Stride, he's a 13k booster. And for the Dimensional Robo Die Prop, the reason why I'm running him is because if you ride him on Vanguard, you can bottom deck a normal unit, draw a card. Bottom deck a grade 3, you can draw 2 instead. Then his Rearguard skill is Soul Blast 1, and your Vanguard gets 5,000 power for every force marker on Vanguard Circle, which can help your Vanguard hit bigger numbers and meet certain requirements for effects. For my grade 2 lineups, I'm running 4 Devour Planet Zeal, 4 Toxic Mutant Gels Sludge, if I'm pronouncing that right, and 4 Dimensional Robo Kaizard. I have Destruction Zeal, again, is in the deck at 4 for deck thinning. You can ride, he's a good ride target. So when you ride on top of him with a grade 3, you can minus your opponent's Vanguard by 5. His Vanguard Rearguard skill is Counterblast 1, rest 2 Rearguards you control. Minus your opponent's Vanguard by 5,000 power. And if you have Eye Destruction Zeal in the Soul, you can draw a card. Not too bad. Helps you draw if you're negging your opponent's Vanguard. When you're doing his skill, helps put on a little bit of pressure in the early to late game or mid game. I'm running 4 of the new Dimension Police promo we got. His skill is on place, Vanguard Rearguard, Soul Blast 1, and choose one of the following effects below. If your opponent is at grade 3 or greater, perform both. Your opponent counterblasts 1 to draw you. If they do not, you draw a card. Your opponent soul blasts 1. If they do not, minus 5,000 power to your opponent. It's really good because it forces your opponent to a situation and you can manipulate when you want to do it. So if you know your opponent has no counterblast, it's just a on play soul blast 1, draw a card. You can also hurt them with their soul because they might need their soul for their own effects as well. I'm running 4 Kaizard because he's also a great ride target as well for going into your grade 2 turn. Because when you ride on top of him with any grade 3, you discard a card and get an imaginary get force marker on the Vanguard Circle, which can be fantastic because then when you ride a grade 3 on top of him, you get another force marker. So you get 2 force markers for a practically discard of 1 while riding. His second effect is a rearguard skill, which is continuous during your turn. If your Vanguard has a force marker, he gets 10,000 power. If there are 3 or more, he gets another 10k. So you become a good 20 to 30k attacker by himself. For my grade 3 lineups, I'm running 4 Galactic Beast Zeal, 4 Dimensional Robo Kaiser, and 2 of our new Heal Guardians, which I will not even attempt to pronounce that name for my life. Again, I run Galactic Beast Zeal because he's practically the boss unit of the deck. He's also good for the superior ride target off of Davane. And again, you could search him off the top 7 with Eye Destruction Zeal or Larva Beast Zeal if you wrote Eye Destruction on top of Larva. His skill is, when placed from hand on Vanguard or Rearguard, call the top card of your deck. If placed on Vanguard, minus your opponent's Vanguard's power by 5,000 for every marker on their board. Then his Counterblast 1, put a Rearguard into your soul, and minus your opponent's Vanguard by 10,000 power. If you put 2 or more into soul, and your opponent's at grade 3 or greater, he gets drive +1 for every 2 you put into soul. Great for pressure. The minus is fantastic for the deck. Helps bring numbers low, so if you ride him on top of Devour Planets, it's -15 for 1 Counterblast. Or if you ride him on top of Kaizard, you can make him 33, and then proceed to put on more pressure. Kaiser is our newest boss unit from the V clan selection. His skill is continuous Vanguard Circle. If his power is 35,000 or greater, he goes critical. Then his second effect, auto Vanguard Circle and front row rearguard. At the end of the battle that a grade 3 was drive checked, if your opponent called 1 Sentinel during that attack, Counterblast 1, deal 1 damage to your opponent's Vanguard. If this unit is in the front row rearguard circle, move him into soul. Then he's got a mini break ride effect. When this unit is rode upon, call this unit to front row rearguard circle and get an imaginary get force marker onto the Vanguard circle. So it works well, especially if you ride Zeal on top of him. You get 2 force markers, call him to the rearguard circle, and then you proceed to call the top card of your deck from Zeal's skill. Helps get you a little bit more board presence and plussing. Then you got the grade 3 Heal Guardian. I'm not too sure if I want to run it or not. Just something to test out right now, which is how they all work. The same. When this unit is put onto Guardian Circle from hand, if you have not ridden to grade 3 or greater during this fight, choose one of the following effects. Your Vanguard gets 10k for the end turn, or minus the attacking unit's power critical by 2. Then when this unit is placed on rearguard circle from your hand, if you have 0 cards in your damage zone, put the top card of your deck into the damage zone face up, which is great to help get away from the damage deny game and gives you the counterblast for Zeal to help minus 10,000 power. It seems nice, but depending on how this deck runs, it might not be necessary. So for the G Zone, I'm running 2 X Tigers, 4 Geomagloss, 2 of our Progenitor Dragon, 2 X Gallops. The Metalborg Stride is to be Stark, but I do not have him as a friend is borrowing him right now. So that's Stark. 1 Dolphin, 1 Geo5, 1 Zeal G-Guard, and 2 X Caviars. With X Tiger, it's on attack. Flip a card in your G-Zone face up. He gets 4,000 power for every card facing your G-Zone. If he exceeds 45,000 or more, he goes critical +1, which is fantastic for a first stride if you're being damage denied, because if you ride if If you ride over Kaizard, you get 2 force markers, which will immediately get him up to that threshold, and with a boost will finish it off, so he'll be crit. No need to counterblast or anything like that. Geomaglass on attack, counterblast 1. Flip a card in your G-Zone face up. Check top 7 cards of your deck. Call up to 2. And if you call a grade 3, he goes critical. Then, for every face-up copy of him facing the G-Zone, Vanguard and G-Zone, all grade 3s get 5,000 shield and 5,000 power and intercept, which is fantastic because it can help throw those Kaisers, give extra 10k, give extra shield value to the Heal Guardians, and make some good beat sticks as well. 2 Progenitor Dragons on attack, counterblast 1. Reduce all your opponent's units to 0 power to help with good pressure if you want to go into him, and then it's free stride for the rest of the game. Brave Speaks X Gallop. On attack, counterblast 1. Choose a card from your G-Zone, flip it face up. If he's over 40,000 power, he gets drive +1. If he's over 80,000, he can restand and gets drive -4. Then GV3, he gets 10,000 power for every face-up card in your G-Zone. So he can be done relatively early, second stride and all that, if you're able to get enough force markers from your riding throughout the game. Along with the Spirit Rides off of Davin. Then you got Stark. Stark does Stark shenanigans, which is fun. Then you got Dolphin to get big shield if you have board and countercharge and soul charge. Geo5, which is a fantastic G-Guard to have. Zeal, which helps you slow your opponents down while giving your Vanguard a permanent 5k buff. Then X Caviar, which is good to help give your Vanguard an additional 4k buff by discarding 1 card from your hand, and is a good shield as well. So one of the nice things about this deck is that if you have to ride the robo route, so you ride die prop and Kaizard helps you give some more card advantage by bomb deck in grade 3, so which will give you the starter zeal onto the rearguard circle. So if you're going first, you can put on a lot of pressure like this. So you would ride Die Kaiser, discard a card from hand, and get a force marker on the Vanguard circle off of Kaizard's skill. Then Die Kaiser, because he was ridden, you can get yourself another force marker anywhere you want, so you can give it to the Vanguard circle. Then if you have a Zeal in hand, you can call Galactic Bee Zeal, then call the top card of your deck, which will give you another board presence, which is fine if it's a trigger or not. It doesn't really matter. Then, if you have it, you can call Davin, use Davin's skill to move Galactic Bee Zeal into the soul, then Superior Ride Galactic Bee Zeal. Then you proceed following the effects. Davin will call out a grade 3 from your soul, so you can call out Galactic Bee Zeal from the soul, then use Die Kaiser's skill, because he was ridden upon. You get yourself another marker on the Vanguard circle, which gives you 3. Then Die Kaiser will come out from the soul, because through his own effect. Then Zeal, since he was ridden, can get you another force marker. And this is great going first turn. So you can give yourself, your Vanguard, 2 force markers, and give your rear guards force markers, or if you want, just stack them all on the Vanguard circle. So again, this is pretty good going first. And then if you have another Davin, you just ride another Zeal and go for an extra marker. But by going first and going this route, it applies more pressure. Because then let's say you weren't damage denied, you can counterblast 1, move Zeal into the soul, and minus your Vanguard another 10,000 power. So now they have to get a trigger to equal themselves out, and then guard with less, or they'll have big beat sticks coming their way. This is just something fun that I put together, and I talked with my friend Standard Thesaurio about this, and he kind of agrees that this might be the better route to run. Obviously, this is our build. You can make your deck however you want, but I like the aggressive route that this deck can go. Kaiser is now Zeal's prisoner. Until next time, later.